Welcome to the 9th edition of the Agents of Change interview series. Today I have a very special guest, Annie Fogarty. Annie is the Executive Chairperson of the Fogarty Foundation, which creates and supports education initiatives. The Foundation runs a broad range of programs, including building capacity in schools in low socioeconomic areas, as well as supporting leadership opportunities for high-achieving high school students and also teachers. So thanks a lot for joining me.
Great to be here.
So just to start off, would you be able to share a little bit about your background and also what you're working on at the moment?
Yes, so my professional background is in marketing and public affairs. But in 2000, when I had finished work and we'd started a family, my children had started school, my husband and I decided to start a foundation, partly because we wanted to build a prosperous community that our family could grow up in, and partly because the children were at school and I was quite involved in their school, that I realised the importance of education, the opportunities that our children would have, and realising that other children wouldn't necessarily have the same opportunities. But both Brett and I really believe in the power of education, and not just for individuals to help them achieve their potential, but also a well-educated communities and society means that there'll be less call on health and welfare and justice systems, and that there'll be much more opportunities for economic growth and for people to improve their life opportunities.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that. Particularly the role of education in creating opportunities. So what are the current projects that you're working on in that space?
Okay, so we work across, as you said, a broad range of the community, and we support a number of organisations with the programs that they deliver. But our three main focus areas are within leadership within education, so the UWA Fogarty Scholars Program, which provides financial scholarships for high-achieving young students like yourself, but it also has a leadership program, which is a really important part of it, where we bring in people from a whole range of community and businesses to talk about their leadership beliefs, and also we support the scholars in their endeavours, which we think is really important. It's very much about building a cohort of young people who are aspirational and that can inspire and support each other. Coda Dojos is another area that we're very involved in. A few years ago, we realised that coding or computer programming is a skill that's going to be essential going forward into the future, and that it wasn't being taught in our schools at the time. It is becoming part of the curriculum, but it's a really important skill, not just for data analysis or programming, but to help in a whole range of areas. So we started Coda Dojos WA, which is part of an international organisation where people volunteer not to teach children how to computer program, but enables them to learn themselves using open source information. And it also develops a whole range of other skills like logical thinking, problem solving, self-directed learning, peer-to-peer mentoring, which is really good, and communication skills as well. This also has led us into what we're now calling Ed Futures. So we're looking at what the classroom or the school of the future is going to look like. And our other main area is our Fogarty Advanced program. We've got a good education system, but there's a significant amount of young people who are not achieving even minimal educational outcomes. And the majority of these students go to schools in disadvantaged communities. So we've got a 3-year school improvement program where we work with the leadership teams in these schools to help them build their capacity so that they can support their students. And this includes a lot of priority setting, strategy, planning, change management, so that the schools are in the best possible position to improve the learning capacity of their students.
I think that's amazing, like you're working on so many different projects, and I imagine though sometimes that you'd come across a few challenges with that, especially balancing time involved, and what are some of the challenges that you faced and how have you overcome them?
Yeah, it is a great area to work in. Education is a really positive area, and the community sector is also really positive. Business tends to understandably sometimes be protective about their intellectual property,
Right.
whereas in the community and education sectors, people really want to share, they really want to help. So we haven't faced a lot of challenges. I guess one of the big ones is there's so many opportunities for us to get involved in a whole range of different areas. So the important thing is for us to be really focused on where we think that we can have impact and to work within that.
You don't want to stretch yourself.
No.
Yeah. And I know that one of the programs you spoke about, the Fogarty Scholarship Program, is really successful, and a lot of students watching this would probably have heard of it before. Could you explain a little bit about how students can apply for the scholarship and also what's involved in it?
The scholarships we started with UWA back in 2004 because we knew that a lot of the really bright students here in Western Australia were being offered scholarships to go and study at Melbourne, University of New South Wales, all over the place. So we thought it was really important that our bright students stayed and at least did their undergraduate and perhaps their first postgraduate degree in Western Australia. So between the university and ourselves, we offer these scholarships. So it's a full financial scholarship, but one of the really important parts of it is actually bringing together a cohort of really bright, aspirant young people so that they can support and inspire each other. Part of the scholarship program includes a leadership program where we bring in leaders from across the community and business to come and speak with the scholars, and also support the scholars, support their endeavours and what they're doing.
Right.
And hopefully, yes, build this cohort where there's now 55 scholars studying at UWA at the moment and 75 alumni who are working and studying either here or interstate or overseas. And we hope that that alumni will stay together and stay strong and be able to work together so to help improve Western Australia.
Yeah, and as a recipient of the scholarship myself, I'm really grateful for the work you're doing with that. For students watching this who might be in year 11 or younger, who can apply in the next couple of years, what advice would you give them, and how can they find out more?
I think one of the important things is to look into it quite early. So the selection criteria is partly based on academic ability, but it's also, we look at the range of other activities that students get involved in: sports, arts, music, leadership and community activities. So if you're thinking about the scholarship, and not just for the scholarship's sake, but you'd need to think about all the activities that you're involved in now to make sure that you are in a great position to apply for the scholarships. Good idea you can have a look at the Foundation's website, fogartyfoundation.org.au, and the UWA, obviously on their scholarships pages. There's the details of how to go about and apply. You can also contact the scholarships office at UWA. But one of the other things that young people, particularly if they're in Year 10, might be interested is looking at the Fogarty Futures Leaders Conference, which is a really good entree into the whole concept of leadership and studying.
Yeah, and I know that application's open now for that, so that's awesome. Along with the scholarship program and the other projects that you run, what have been some of your proudest achievements?
Well, definitely the scholarship program is fantastic because there's so many great young people involved that are doing wonderful things, including yourself. And I think the leadership conference is a really good example. The Fogarty Foundation's logo is a ripple because we hope that whatever we do will have long and broad impact on the society. And the Leaders Conference is the scholars themselves running a leadership program. So we feel that we've given support to the scholars. They're now then taking that knowledge and they're going out and they're helping other young people. So for us, that is exactly what the ripple effect is in action. So that's great. And I think one of probably the other great area where we get a lot of satisfaction from is when we go to the schools that we work with in the advanced program, in that these schools are in really challenging communities, and if we go to these schools and schools that are working well, you know that the children attending those schools, their lives definitely will be better off for being in those schools. So if we've been able to help that in some way, that's fantastic.
It's going to have a big impact on them. You
Yes.
know, like especially in primary school and high school, the education you get really sets you up for life. So in terms of, you know, you've done a lot of media and stuff as well to help promote that. I know in 2014 you did a TED Talk about how we can best educate young people. So what was the message you were sharing there, and you know, what was the response, I guess, that you got from that TED Talk?
Yeah, so it was fantastic being part of the whole TED Talk conference. Great speakers from a whole range of different areas coming together and a really enthusiastic and interested audience, where I met quite a lot of people and people contacted me afterwards. But also it did highlight the message that I was trying to get across, which had come from a lot of the work that we've done in the advanced program, in that schools have now become the hub, or can become the hub of the community, and particularly disadvantaged communities where lots of different services are needed, and sometimes the people in these communities find it very difficult to access outside services. It could be public transport issues, or it could be an aversion to be involved with government organisations. But if we can provide a lot of these community services from within the schools where they're really accessible, then it makes it a lot easier for people to access it and to benefit from the programs, as well as I believe that it's also a much more efficient way of organising things if a lot of the services can be brought to the people, yeah, and all delivered in the one place. So, and not because of the TED Talk, but there's a lot of schools which are actually, they're often called extended schools, extended school services, in that they provide a lot of these other services. That
are now, popping up around the place.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know also that you're a member of a number of boards and advisory committees. How has these experiences shaped your understanding of education, and also, your inspired your work?
I think being on boards and committees is where you meet lots of other people who have the same aims as you do.
Yeah.
So from my point of view, a lot of the work we do is talking to other people, finding out what the needs are, seeing what other people are doing. Occasionally, the foundation, we have Fogarty roundtables where we bring together organisations who are all doing similar things. A lot of the problems in the community are quite wide and complex problems, and they need to have a range of different people coming with different perspectives. And I think being on boards is quite often is where these different people and perspectives and ideas all come together.
Yeah, fantastic. And also, as part of, I guess, something I'm really interested in is for young people, obviously the workforce is changing substantially, and a lot of institutions are trying to support young people in the transition from high school and university to the workforce. What do you think, from your experience, are the most important skills young people should be learning?
Definitely the foundation subjects of literacy and numeracy are really important. Some of the schools that we work in, up to 70% of the students in Year 7 do not have proficient reading or numeracy, which by the time we get to high school, secondary schools are really not equipped to help teach those sort of subjects. So that obviously has to be the main focus. Even with all the technology we have today, it's still really important. You still need to know how to read and comprehend what you're reading and to be able to communicate what you're doing. So I think those are the main things. But the other competencies which are going to be really important going into the future is, we all know that the workplace is changing, and it's changing really rapidly. So when students have finished school and perhaps finished university, they're still going to have to keep on learning. So it's important that they know how to be a lifelong learner, and that they can take responsibility for their own learning, rather than sitting and being delivered knowledge and being able to repeat that knowledge. It's important that they actually take responsibility for it and will want to continue on learning. So that eagerness and enthusiasm for learning, flexibility and agility, because things are going to change really quickly, problem solving, knowing that how to solve a problem and being able to take that structure and then be able to apply that to a whole range of problems that might come up.
Yeah.
Definitely collaboration going forward. Everyone, you're going to need to be able to work together with other
With
people.
of different cultures as well and across the world.
Yeah, very much to be able to bring those different thoughts and different abilities together to be able to address problems. So I think those are the main things. Also, the fact that jobs are not going to be necessarily as they are today, where you go and you get a full-time job and you get a monthly pay packet. Lots of people are probably going to have a consultancy job and a part-time job here and a whole range of portfolio of jobs, so they're going to have to manage their portfolio as well as manage the changing
tasks as well.
the tasks and also the fluctuating income that might come from that. So there's definitely big changes happening in education, well, big changes happening in our society, so there needs to be a big change in education to address that.
And what would be your advice, for young people watching this that want to understand and kind of upskill themselves for whether it be a part-time job or full-time job? What would you kind of recommend that they do?
I think probably try and take a whole range of part-time jobs or volunteer work where you can use those and build on those different skills, but also then to be able to have a look at what's out there to find out what your passion is and what area you might want to follow.
And I know that you received an honorary doctorate of letters from UWA and also an honorary doctorate of education from ECU, and congratulations on that. What did you learn from that experience, and also how has that helped you in the field of work that you're in?
I think that yes, education is very large and it's wide, and we have great educational institutions from schools through to the universities and TAFEs, but they are large organisations, and as I just said, that life is changing so quickly, and sometimes it's difficult for large institutions to change quickly to keep up with these changing times. So I think that's one area, and what I like about the Coda Dojos is that we've got a number of corporate dojos. So this is business realising that what the skills that they need in the workplace, that they are going to have to take some responsibility in getting involved in that. So I think education is going to become more and more everyone's responsibility.
Not just schools,
not just these institutions, but also business and the community, and people are going to have to look at it much more as a whole thing rather than something that's separate.
And what do you think? Obviously, the workforce is changing so quickly, and it is hard for institutions and even businesses to kind of help bridge that gap. What do you think are the kind of biggest faults that or mistakes that these institutions are making, and how can they improve that?
I don't know that they're necessarily making mistakes, but very much it is this, they need to have the ability to be able to still deliver the core educational knowledge that they need to, but to be looking at this ever-changing world and to be more flexible. I think also listening to the student voice is really important. Young people, I think, have got not necessarily a clear idea of how to get to where they want to get to, but how to access a whole lot of particularly open source information, and are pretty aware of the skills that they need, and so the institutions need to be able to enable the students to be able to do that, and so they need to listen to what the students are wanting.
And I think to do with that, and also part of a lot of the projects that you do, is the concept of mentoring, and something that is really powerful for enacting change. For young people that want to get into a particular field, what do you think is the best way for them to find mentors?
Yeah, I think you just got to look to see where it is that you want to get involved, and then look at the people who are in that area. And I think for students, I think you need to be very open about asking for help, particularly when you're young. Most people are keen to help, So don't be afraid to reach out and ask. And if people are busy, they'll say that they're busy, and it's not. You shouldn't take that personally. You just should say, okay, well then I'll ask someone else. And yes, I think, and also hopefully young people, if they're getting mentored, hopefully they'll also be looking at helping to mentor other young people
And then you get that ripple effect like you were saying
You do.
before.
And you obviously, you learn quite a bit then as well about what to ask from your mentor,
Yeah.
to realise that they probably don't have a lot of spare time, so the time that they're giving is very valuable, to make sure you make the most of that
Waste
time.
as well, yeah.
Yeah, so that, you've given a bit of preparation to the things that you actually want help with.
And with both personally and with the foundation, what are some of your biggest goals in the future?
Well, we'd love to think that the whole of Western Australia has a great education system, and that all our people are well educated and well engaged. So that's definitely the big picture. And I think we'll continue on focusing on the main areas that we are. I think that the whole Ed Futures area is one of the most exciting areas.
Well, all the best with that, and I guess, if people want to find out more information about the work you're doing, what's the best way for them to follow that?
Definitely have a look at the website. As I said, fogartyfoundation.org.au,
Cool.
and have a read through it. And then if you want to contact us, there's a contact section there.
Cool. And just finally, what's your biggest piece of advice for young people that want to excel in their field, regardless of whatever they choose?
I think keep a lookout for all the opportunities that are out there, particularly when you're young. There's a lot of opportunities. As you get older, there's not so many, and you have to actually make them yourself. But you have to be open and aware to actually see opportunities, and to be brave enough to grab them when you see them. So grab those opportunities.
That's great advice, and thank you so much again for joining me. I know you're on a very busy schedule, so I really appreciate it. If you are watching this and you are in year 10 or year 11 at school, the application is now open for the Fogarty Futures Conference. So if you look that up on Facebook, then that's something which I would highly recommend for learning about leadership. So thanks again.
Thank you.